Yo, what's going on? This is the build that I'll be using for today's video, and it's a little bit different from what everyone else runs, and I'm gonna go over it. As the video goes on, I'm gonna just kind of explain it and how I use the build, and then I'll go over the gameplay at the end. Starting off with the subspecies that I use the +3 attack damage. I just think that one's the best. Unless you're using a knockback build, then I would use the 15% knockback. That's your other option. And then your last option is the 25% jump height, which just seems pretty useless, to be honest. You can get up pretty much anywhere that you could before. So yeah. Now you passively have on just a normal headbutt, which is a quick headbutt attack that does medium damage. Yeah, that's going to be your main form of attack. Is for the head slots, none of these do that much damage besides batter, which is a low damaging headbutt that attack that rapidly turns to face behind you and change your direction, also knocking away all nearby targets. So that's more for knockback, but I don't use that. I use airhead, deal 25% more damage while jumping, and it boosts air control by 100%. So I'm going to tell you why I run airhead. Because when you dodge and hit, it counts as a jump. The dodge counts as a jump. So you do 25% more damage with each and every single hit that you dodge with. Same as if you're charging, you can dodge into someone and help them with the charge, and your charge is going to do 25% more damage. So it's a variant of a damage Pachy that I run. Your other option is the charged headbutt, charged up headbutt that deals low damage and fracture. Fracture amount inflicted is determined by the length the ability is charged for, which is alright, but it's just you're too small to be putting on the crazy fracture. The fracture on the Pachy isn't that good. Also, another thing is about the batter. Batter's probably really good for 1v1s, but not really, because you already have a really good turn radius, so I just don't think battle's that useful. I still think airhead is just better. And then your last option is the skull bash, a head attack with a wind up. Deals low damage but applies the dazed effect to its targets for 3 seconds while dazed. Movement speed is reduced by 5% and the target is unable to use active abilities. Targets can only be dazed every 20 seconds. If this attack misses any target, you will become dazed instead. So high risk and not so much of a high reward. Just because 3 seconds isn't a lot, especially on a small dino. So this won't really help you against smaller things. So yeah, and then anything big, I mean, I just don't think the Pachy should be using that one, the skull bash. I don't find it as effective as the airhead. But yeah, moving on to the sense. I use sure-footed, reduces fall damage by 15% and decreases dodge cooldown by 50%. Main thing here is the dodge cooldown. His dodge is really good for just getting away, because the Pachy is not really that fast. Well, it's fast in a way that compared to all other dinos, but compared to the 2 slots, it's actually not that fast. Conker's faster, Alio's faster. It's about the same as the Cerato. But yeah. And then the other options is improves charge knockback amount by 20% home run, which that is for a knockback build. So if you're using that, if you're using knockback build, then yeah, makes sense. And then hard-headed, decreased skull bash, charged headbutt cooldowns by 50%, which just doesn't seem to be as good as the other two, and I don't use any of those attacks anyway. And then the metabolism is pretty cool because you can run herbivore, able to eat berries and fruit, moderate food drain, and then you have scavenger, can eat noxious meat, carrion, and bones. So yeah, that's actually really cool. But yeah. Now my hide, I use the second wind, gain 150% increased stam recovery for 8 seconds after receiving a hit in combat. Why? Because the Pachy stam recovery isn't that good, so I just like that stam increase every time I get hit. I can just sit down for a couple of seconds and gain like all of my stamina back pretty much, which is yeah, just really good all around. Yeah, because when you charge and you dodge, it takes a lot of stamina off of you, so that's why I use second wind. And then your other option is kickboxer, which recently got changed. Change charge and kick attack by increasing damage by 50% and increasing their stamina cost by 20%, and then removing their knockback. So you don't have any knockback, so you can't throw people off the cliffs. Another thing is it just uses even more stamina for the charge, and kick if you use kick. So, and I just feel like once you're out of stamina on a Pachy, you're pretty much dead. That's why I like second wind. A kickboxer used to do like 150% increased damage, and used to take like 100% stam recovery. Not stam recovery, stam cost. So yeah. So it's just a lot more expensive to charge and kick. That's why I don't like it. And then your last option is Doom Skull, improves knockback on all attacks by 25% and decreases charge stamina cost by 50%. Which this one's alright. The charge stamina cost is pretty good, honestly. And the knockback is pretty nice as well. So that one's not a bad option. I just prefer second wind. And then for your leg slot, I use charge, because once again with charge I can dodge into someone, which brings me back to airhead. Makes me do 25% more damage with charge or just normal hits by dodging into them. And then your other option is kick, which is it's alright, but I just prefer, as I said, it just doesn't work with airhead the way charge does. Yeah, so if I wasn't using airhead, then maybe I would use kick, but yeah, I just really like lining people up with the charge and then dodging right into them, and it does a crazy amount of damage, especially with kickboxer. But main thing is with kickboxer, I just felt like I didn't have enough stamina to stay in fights long enough for it to be valuable, especially when it's like a big mega pack. That was another thing. But yeah. And for my back limb, I use braced legs. Why? Because there's a lot of, especially on Pandora, there's a lot of hills and downhills. And for anyone wondering what braced legs does, is ignores uphill movement. Increases speed when moving downhill by 10% and reduces falling damage by 10%, which is pretty nice. It's just, because the Pachy isn't that fast anyway, but going uphill and downhill, you can like outrun conks and everything. So yeah, it's really good. And then the other option is long distance runner. Reduces running stamina drain by 15%, which is also good, but I prefer braced legs. And then strong legs takes 60% less knockback and 15% increased fracture healing, which is alright, but probably just the worst out of the two. And then for your tail slot, you got dodge. It's your only option, and that's kind of what makes airhead so good, is a dodge counts as a jump, so you do that 25% extra damage. So yeah, that's going to be like your movement tool. And just if you get really good with lining up your dodge, so dodge is like the area you look at is where you're going to dodge towards. So you charge and then look where you want to dodge, and then dodge as you're charging, and it lands and it does crazy amounts of damage. So yeah, now I'm going to go over the gameplay and also how you should be playing this. With small dinos, you can't really line up the charges well unless they're already fighting someone, but in a 1v1, when you guys are just in a turn battle, you won't really be using your charge. You'll be more of just using your dodge and normal hit to do a lot of damage. That's why earlier in the video I was able to 1v1 an Alio, even though the Alio is stronger than the Pachy. But yeah, against big dinos, the charge is so good, just charging and then dodging right into them to do really good damage. And yeah, you can see I do it here. and actually knock the guy off the cliff, but he doesn't take any fall damage. Anyway, here we were fighting a Pycno and 2 Titans, and Titans are really fast, so they can punish you, and Pachy's really squishy. It's got a great turn radius, really good stamina, not so good stam regen. That's why I use second wind. The damage is really good if you use airhead and dodge combined with your attacks really well, and you could use kickboxer too if you want even more crazy damage. And this guy puts himself in the water, and at this point there's like, it's going to be really hard to kill this guy unless he makes a big mistake. And yeah, it's not really worth risking anything here, but if you don't risk things, then you're never going to get good at the game. So I try and go in and I miss. Realistically, this guy should have killed me here, but he missed. He should have juked. Maybe he wasn't running juke, not too sure. But yeah. And this guy, this Pycno sits for some reason and thinks it's safe. And I just jump down this cliff and hit him a few times, and he's already really low, so I just kill him in 2 hits. And I get away. And here there was an Achillo with it was just a massive mega pack, and they had like a bunch of Tyranno Titans and stuff. But the thing is, the Achillo won't really escape. I was trying to lure this guy away from the Titans, just make some space. That way I could take my one with him, and my friend was nearby as well. So yeah, main thing is just get away from the Titans right now. And this guy turns away, so you know, I get some of my stamina back. Just because Titans can run for a really long time and they're really fast, so I don't want to run out of stamina near a bunch of Titans. And this guy gets up on a rock and I hit him off instantly. You see, once again I charged into him, and the Titan heavy bites and ends up killing his teammate by accident. And then they bring a Metri, which I imagine it's just their kilo. Same thing, just trying to get hits off on him. Only problem with the Metri is it has a heal call, so at any point, if we don't finish the kill, then he can just get away, heal up, and it's going to be really annoying. But the good thing is, Metri's heal call, it can't use both like the Lambio, and it just has a long cooldown as well. Yeah, but either way, this guy just runs to his Titan buddies and gets them to protect them. But either way, we're gonna try and kill this guy. Just look at this, is crazy amounts, and I like teleported through this guy. I don't know what that was about, but yeah, this is very risky, but you do have a really good turn radius in the Pachy, plus that dodge to just cut extra distance. And you can see they even brought in a Marga, which makes it a little bit harder, especially if he was using the Stomp. You're really low to the ground, so sometimes the Marga's tail misses, honestly. So, and there was these 2 random Pachys, not Pachys, Dinos, but they didn't do anything. And then there was a Struffy here as well that actually helped us out. But Struffy really, it does like no damage. It's just really fast and just really annoying, and it has like no health. But it does have calls, but this Struffy didn't give any of those calls out. Maybe he didn't have those equipped, maybe he was running something else. But yeah, main thing, just hit and run, get a few hits. Don't take too much, don't get yourself killed, because I mean, that's just a crazy amount of Titans. But yeah, once again, charge into this guy and dodge, and I know that hurts. That does a lot of damage, even without kickboxer. That does a lot of damage. So yeah, and at some point this guy does use his call, so yeah. And it's also just difficult to, like, if this was like a 1v1, honestly, I'd be fine with that. I'd more than willingly be taking it, because this guy just doesn't seem very good. Also, me and my friend crashed into each other. And here you can see I take a bunch of damage. I get put with one hit. Plus I'm kind of low in stamina, so imagine if I was using kickboxer here, I'd probably be out of stamina and no way to regain it either. But also you can see I've got poison on me, which just makes my health recovery not as good, but it doesn't stop my stamina from coming back. That's the difference between Metry and Meg Poison. So yeah. And this Metry actually starts chasing me, and you can see I'm really low on stamina. And I try to use these cliffs to my advantage to lose this guy. And it works out. He stops chasing me. But honestly, if he just kept on me, he could have got me. And I got up on this cliff, and I try to get some health, and that Metry just jumps down. And he actually took a lot of fall damage there as well. So I end up turning back to fight this guy in a second here. And my friend's here as well, and he lands a charge on him instantly. And it's important to, even when you're low, just be around, help out. Because that way they're just not focusing one person. It's a lot harder to focus on two people. And I put that guy really low, and we actually killed the Metry. I don't know if you could see it there, it was actually really dark. But yeah, we did kill the Metry. But I did die. And I spawned at LBN while my friends were going to the Waystone to get me back. I seen this Picno, and I'm just whooping them. But thing is, there's a few random Pachys that are gonna show up as well. And this Picno is like low, and he just ends up throwing himself off of the cliff. But you can see I've done all the damage to this guy, and pretty much the reason that guy died. And then now the Pachy wants to fight me. I'm like, alright, I can take a 1v1, that's no problem. But when you're fighting two of the same dino, especially on land and you're not full HP, it's a lot harder to win. In water you can win it, it's doable. But on land it's a lot harder, as there's a lot less movement. You can go up, down, left, right in the water, but on land you can only do so much. And I was gonna try and get to the home cave here, but yeah, I just couldn't. This guy hit me and put me back in combat, and there's not really much you can do here. Yeah, I was already low on stamina. If I had more stamina, I could outrun these guys, but I couldn't really use my second wind, because if I took any extra damage, they would have got me either way, and they did. But I got waystoned back up to GOC, and I was waiting for this guy to waystone his friend, and he does. He waystones his Achillo, and we get the drop on him. And he takes a bunch of damage because he was resting as well. So yeah, this guy's trying to run away, but honestly he should just be trying to fight and stay near his Titan friend. But yeah, he just tries to get away. And he does a decent job of just surviving, but you're not gonna get away from two Pachys and a killer. Yeah, and my friend just charged them right there and insta-killed him. He runs kickboxer, so that definitely hurt. We got a trophy. And I delivered the trophy, and I accidentally charged my friend here. He's not in the group for some reason. But we decided to fight this Titan. The other Titans left. There wasn't much time left on the server, so they probably just switched and left this guy to be alone. You can see I charge him here and dodge into him to get that extra 25% damage. And now same with the hits, just dodge and then hit to get that damage increase. And honestly, this guy could have easily went to the water in the GOC, or put himself up against a cliff and made this a lot harder than when he's out in the wide open, because Pachys have a great turn radius, and they also have a charge and a dodge. They're just very agile, hard to pin down, and even with a juke. But still, I mean, realistically a Titan should never be losing to a couple of Pachys and a Struffy, if you're good enough anyway. But yeah, yeah, this guy's just running. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. didn't really make sense. But yeah, I was just getting my stamina back. His second wind only works when you get hit, and this guy wasn't landing anything on me to for that to activate. So yeah, he honestly just doesn't. You know, most Titan players aren't very good. That's why they use the Titan, because the Titan's one of the best dinos out there. Super easy to use, just really good. Even though it got nerfed, I see people complaining. I don't think they realise how good the Titan is. A couple of days ago, I done some testing and I 1v2'd Alberts, I 1v2'd Styrax, I 1v2'd Dasps. I want every single one of those. Yeah, so that just shows how good the what's it called is the Titan. Whereas if you were a Rex, you could struggle a lot because of your turn radius. The main thing about Titan is how fast it is, and not only that, it is Duke. So because it is both of those, like for example, Duck has got Duke, but it isn't fast, so it can't punish you when it jukes. Whereas the Titan has Duke and it's really fast, so it can catch up on you sometimes and get a bunch of free bites. So yeah, but either way, this guy should be tail hitting more. Obviously you see him tail hit a few times, but it's just not enough. And yeah. And at this point I get really aggressive. I just like, I already know this guy's really low. You could see it on his skin. And yeah. There's if I was him, I would have got myself in water deep enough to where it would make the Pachy swim, making them pretty much unkillable, because you ain't face tanking a Titan on a Pachy. But yeah, you can see I end up killing the guy, and I couldn't pick up his trophy because I was on trophy kill.